Today we have with us Dr. Akil Surti. Akil Surti sir is a founder of Enlighten Infosystem, and he is a ex-faculty research fellow at IIT Delhi, and he has a he has a experience on the machine learning and deep learning courses, and he is working on this field from last many years. So, sir, please.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Myself, Dr. Akil Surti, and I am from Enlighten Infosystems. Today, we are going to see basics of machine learning, and surely we will see how you can start with machine learning stuff, right? And what are the things that you need to keep in mind while developing a machine learning project. So let us just share my screen and we can start. All right, so the table of contents for today's webinar is machine learning defined. So we will discuss various definitions given by expert in the field of machine learning. Second, we will see that how we can differentiate our machine learning programming with traditional programming, or how it is different in terms of inputs and outputs. Then we are going to see a brief about applications of machine learning, in which field they are used, and when and how we see it coming at our end. Then we will start with a machine learning project, that how you can start building your machine learning project. And finally, I will take up a real life example which we have developed at our organization. Right. So let us just start with machine learning.
Sir, a small request. Can you put your presentation in your PPT in a presentation mode, sir?
Yeah, just a second, sir. Is it fine, sir?
Perfect, sir.
Yeah. So machine learning, as defined by one of the experts, it's an application of artificial intelligence that provides systems the ability to automatically learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. So here it says that machine learning tries to learn from the inputs, and they have their ability to learn themselves and then provide a particular output. So in that sense, they learn something from the previous experiences, right? So that is what about machine learning is. The term is learning, and plus we are using a term machine. So it's something our program, or let's say our machine, which keeps on learning based on the data that we are trying to give it to them. I will differentiate again what's machine learning and artificial intelligence is, and how it is different. There is like a minor difference between them, and that will be in a couple of next slides. The next definition given by again an expert, is it's an interdisciplinary in nature. That means it requires knowledge from a computer science. It requires knowledge from your statistics. It again requires a knowledge from mathematics as well. Again, it's like it requires a knowledge from artificial intelligence. So these are the key core fields which is required to have this machine learning going on. The main artifacts of machine learning research are algorithms, which facilitate this automatic improvement from experience, as I have said. Algorithms which can be applied in various diverse fields, such as computer vision, artificial intelligence, data mining, be it e-commerce or any other fields, right? Or aerospace, or any general, or healthcare, for an example. So this machine learning is now so diversified that it can be applied, or its application can be seen in various fields. The third general again definition given by an expert is it's an application of AI where a computer machine learns from the past experiences, which is the data that we are going to input, and then they can make a future predictions based on whatever data that you have provided. The thing that we need to keep in mind is that such systems should have the least human interference, right? So they should be like more dependent on themselves, and there should be self-learning going on, so that the human efforts are minimized and there is no interference from the human side. So these are the three basic machine learning definitions that I can put it in front of you, so that you can be aware of what exactly the term machine learning is and what you can expect in future or in our next slide, that how we are going to pan up, right? The next is how it is different than traditional programming. So if you look at this particular image, right, in traditional programming, there are two kind of inputs that we do. That is data and the program or the code that we do. And then after the processing, the output is generated, right? So that is the main aspect of our traditional programming, that you have this data with you, you have your code ready with you, right? And then you input into your machine, and then you get an appropriate output. In machine learning, the difference is with data, you go for the output, that what you exactly want, right? And the machine learning algorithm works at the back end, looking at your data and what exactly the output you want, and then they generate a program for you that is suitable, right? So that's the basic difference between this traditional programming and machine learning program. It says that machine learning is getting computers to program themselves. That means if we consider programming, let's say if a programmer is there, a field of IT person will expect that the automation is what? If you are developing a software, you will term it as an automation, right? So in our IT field, we say programming is automation. Then what is machine learning? So machine learning is again automating the process of automation. That means you are automating your programming itself, right? So it's again,
Akil, sir?
now
Akil,
if
yeah, go
yes,
ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. So machine learning in layman's term, that let's say if you are not from any IT field, so how you perceive a machine learning? So it's something like, it's like farming or gardening for you. Seeds are its algorithms, nutrients are its data, gardener is you, that means you have just developed an algorithm, and plants are your programs, right? So basically you just take care of this algorithm and data, and then you generate a program, right? So that will be like again automating, that we have said, or what we have described in previous slide, that automating the process of automation. Next, is machine learning and AI same? Okay, so it says that AI is a bigger concept than this machine learning stuff, right? AI simulates the human behaviors and thinking capabilities. Let's say, for example, robotics will be kept in the AI portion of it, because they have these capabilities to think like humans and do an activity which humans do. So robotics will be in terms of AI, whereas machine learning is a subset or application of AI, because there's a machine learning uses lots of like algorithms from AI itself. It inherits most of the properties from AI itself. But the basic concept of machine learning is it allows machine to learn from the data without being programmed explicitly. So here you can say that data is important for machine learning. You should have your trained model with you. You should have certain historical data, or let us say data trends with you, so that you can predict, or so that you can make your machine learn. So that's the heart of this machine learning stuff. Now, let us move to these applications of machine learning. So these are like the few applications that I can list down. It's a very vast list. So something like a web search, that ranking page based on what you are most likely to click on. I mean, let's say for an example, I don't know if you have marked or not, but let's say if you are searching something on a Google, you will find relevant ads on that. Let's say for an example, if you are searching for online course from past couple of days, you will see advertisement based on this EDX or course era or something like this on your web search, right? The second example that I can give, let's say you are planning to visit some place. Let's say for an example, you are planning to go to Mumbai and you are searching the hotels of Mumbai for an example from last couple of days. The next time you open your this Google and search something, you will find the hotels advertisement which are in Mumbai. So you can question yourself there that how this happens. So it is like based on the activities that you have done from last couple of days, the machine is trying to learn that what you are expecting from the Google, right? Or what you are expecting. So this is a kind of an example I can give on web search. Second is computational biology, that is rational design drugs in the computer based on past experiments. So if you are designing a drugs, right? So there are a lot of experiments that you need to put up before it can be put in public. As we know, in this particular COVID-19 situation, a lot of people are trying to make a drug, COVID-19 drugs, right, or medicines, but they are not put in a public unless and until it's tested on several persons and the results are favorable in terms of its impact, right? So again, you can use such past experiments and try to design a drug which will like be faster in a market, and it will be good for a society. Next is finance. Decide who to send what credit card offers to, evaluation of risk on credit offers, or how to decide where to invest money. I mean, you would have, or we have seen rupiabazaar.com, or there are numerous advertisements going on. Check your credit risk, right? That how much credit you are having. So if you try to go and try to figure out your credit, they will ask you basic questions, or they will take a basic data from you that you had any previous loans, or if previous loans was there, then of how much amount it was there, how much time you took to repay it. This type of like data they take, and then based on that they calculate your credit score. Let's say for an example, if you go to some bank for a loan, and if you are having a good past history, I'm very much sure the bank is going to entertain you in a very precise way, because they also don't want to lose a good customer. On the other side, if you have a bad history of these loans, then I think that the bank will think twice to give you a loan. So that is how this machine learning can help you out to check the credit score of the customers. E-commerce, that is predicting customer churn, whether or not a transaction is fraudulent or something like that. Again, a basic e-commerce example, if you are using Flipkart, Amazon, if you have searched for mobile phones in the past experiences, the next time you log in, the recommendation for you would be of mobile phones as well. Let's say if you are trying to purchase a mobile phone, right, you can see at the bottom there will be a recommendations, or let's say you can see that those who had bought this mobile phone has also purchased a certain kind of accessories, right? So how this all stuff gets trained. So this is with the help of the historical data that they are having from their previous customers. That let's say for an example, if someone has purchased a Vivo phone, they have also purchased the earphone with them, right, or headphone of certain company with them. So they try to analyze it and put it a recommendation for you that see a people has bought Vivo phone, with that also they had bought this certain headphones or earphones. So that is how they try to get this marketing done, or let's say they try to put focus on what they want to sell. Next is space exploration. That means it relates to space probing and radio astronomy. Again, based on data, they can manipulate the stuffs. And I have said the next is robotics, how to handle uncertainty in new environments. Autonomous or self-driving car is one of the example of robotics, right? And Google is trying to build this particular self-driving car, and they are in the testing mode in various countries, right? So but then there are different challenges for different countries, as you know that how challenging it would be to implement this in India and how challenging it would be to implement in any other country such as US or UK. So based on the environments that you are having, you need to train your robots so that it has a good impact on the current environment. So what I am actually going to say is that the model that self-driving car is using from US might not work in India or in other countries which has a greater population, and the rules are not that tough enough, right? Next is information extraction. Ask questions over database across the web. That I am going to just take it in couple of slides. Social networking, data on relationships and preferences, machine learning to extract value from data. So social networking, they just say or they find out what relationships you are having with other person, and that help the companies or the persons to deliver the goods, or let's say to have this marketing stuff going. Finally, in the field of debugging, right? So in computer science, it is used for debugging so that the time is saved for our testing process and we can identify where the bug is. So these are the very few field of examples I have taken up for machine learning. There are lots more. Now let us just look at this conversation. So there is like two persons, they are communicating with each other, right? So first one is asking KJ that what do you think happens when you search for something on Google? So the answer from a group member is something that Google shows up the most relevant web pages related to that search. Okay, so KJ then says, yes, that's good. But what really happens so that Google can show these relevant pages to you? So the group members say that Google looks at the past clicks from the people to understand which pages are most relevant for those searches, and then serves those results on top of the search. So here we can concentrate that Google is using a past experience of other person when they are typing the same query. And then after that, they are also checking that after they are typing a query, which are the most relevant page they end up to, and how much time they spend on a relevant page. Google can also track how much time you are spending on a certain website. For example, let's say they can also track that how much time you are spending on YouTube, how much time you are spending on Facebook, and so on. So based on that, they can just judge that the output of the clicks. Next is KJ says, okay, that sounds like a good approach, but how many searches and what all kind of searches would Google handle regularly? So group member says, yeah, it's a really big number. It may be in trillion searches every year. So KJ says that how do you think Google can serve so many requests with such accuracy? Do you think there are people sitting in Google offices and continuously deciding which search result is relevant and which is not? The group member says, I have not really thought of, but no, it sounds humanly impossible to sit in the office and decide what to present to each and every user. The final, KJ says, yes, you are right. So this is where machine learning comes into play. It's a set of techniques which help in dealing with vast data in the most intelligent fashion. That is by developing algorithms or set of logical rules to derive actionable insights. That is in our sense, or in our in our existing talk, which is delivering search for users in this case. So I hope you all are clear with what exactly machine learning is and what are the few applications and examples of it. Now let us move ahead to how to start with ML project. Now, what are the basic steps that you can consider to start with? So the very first basic step that you can consider is you need to define a problem that like what you want to achieve, right? Then the next important step is you need to prepare your data set, because as we have seen in previous slides, output and data are the two inputs that you need to give to your machine learning. Then the result will be your program. The next is you need to generate an algorithms for the same and evaluate those algorithms. Based on your algorithms, you can then test your results. If your results are appropriate and satisfactory, you can present your result. If it is not, then there are two things that you can do. Either you can have a strong data set, or you can review your data set, or second thing, you can review our algorithm. So in couple of ways you can tweak your results. Either you focus on having a more relevant data set, or else you make your algorithm powerful so that if there is mismatch in a data also, then your algorithm can handle such scenarios. So these are the few basic steps that you need to consider when you start with your ML project. Now I will take one real life example that we have implemented in our organization, right? So the real life example that what I want to build is, let us consider you want to find out expression or emotion that is happy, sad, calm or angry of a person, and based on that you want to play a song, right? Now it's up to you that which kind of song that you want to go for. Let's say if a person is sad, then you might go for a happy song, or you might also go for a sad song or a calm song. But it depends that how you want output as. For a moment, we will consider that if a person is happy, on a background there should be a happy song. If a person is sad, then there has to be a sad song going on. So after defining a problem, so this is your very first step, that you have defined your problem, that okay, with the expression or emotions of a person, I want to play a song. Now step number one is you need to select a programming language that so that you can build an algorithm, right? So we will consider Python as programming language in our example. Now why Python? Again, it's a very popular machine learning and AI programming language which has a lot of inbuilt libraries, and you all must have heard about Python and how this Python is dealing in the field of machine learning. So let's not go into depth, right? And I'm not comparing with any other programming language such as Java or PHP as well. But for a moment, let's consider we are going with a Python programming. The next step that you need to do is you need to install Python and IDE, or you can say editor, on your machine. It can be a PyCharm, it can be Anaconda, it can be Jupyter, it can be anything else. Notepad++ will also do, right? A simple Notepad will also do. Excuse me. So you need to just install your Python and editors as per your requirement. Install relevant libraries for your project. So let's say based on our expression and emotions project, we will require libraries such as NumPy, Pandas, and CV2. So CV2 is used for just taking a face expression and converting into grayscales or converting into pixels. So CV2 is one of the libraries which deals with face recognition, right? NumPy and Pandas are used for statistical analysis or handling the data. The next step is you need to load or train your data, right? Now, for an example, let's say if you are the person who are going to use this particular application, your data set has to be loaded first, right? So what you do is, with the help of your program, you load your data, or you, let's say for an example, with different expressions of yourself, you load your data, and after that you save this particular training data in one of the folders, right? So let's say you need to train yourself, let's say in happy, how your happy face is. So you need to train yourself by having a happy look. You need to train your data by having a sad look. You need to train your data by having an angry look. So by doing so, you are just preparing your data set and you are storing in one of the folders. So the second step is to load or train your data. The next is creating an algorithm. That means we will create an algorithm which will recognize the expression, emotions of a face. So the crunch part is you take a facial expression of a person, convert it, process it, and then you compare it with your loaded data, right? So that is how you recognize expressions and emotions of a face. So in this particular algorithm, you capture an image, you remove the noise from the images, you convert your image in a grayscale, you crop your image so that the comparison is in a very suitable proportionate. Next, that before applying algorithm, we pre-process our data, such as removing noise or errors in a data. So sometimes in ML, this is very important, that in general, your data will contain noise or errors. Now, what I'm saying, or what is noise or what is errors? Let's say if someone is filling the registration form, it might happen by mistake, instead of the 10-digit phone number, they have entered 11 digits. Or let's say for an example, by mistake, they have entered a wrong mobile number. Same way, it might happen that the address field is going on blank for some of the data. It might again happen, the age is again going on blank. So these are considered as a noise, or you can say the null values. So pre-processing or data, you need to pre-process your data. Either you can like fill up your data by taking a mean. Let's say for an example, age is not defined, then what you can do, you don't want to go for null. So what you can do is either you take a mean of it, either you take a median of the column of the data that you are having of other ages, and then you can put up a value. So these are the few ways that you can normalize your data into. Next is finally testing your algorithm. That is, before applying algorithm, we pre-process our data. such as removing noise or errors in a data. After that, we input our training data and check accuracy of our algorithm. That means whatever data that you have stored, that will be now that will be your input to your algorithm, and then whatever image that you have captured, they will try to match, right? If your data and if your algorithm is good enough, you will get some accuracy of it. If algorithm is good, it gives you an accuracy greater than 95%. Ideally, you can say at the basic level, if you achieve accuracy of more than 80%, then also it is considered as a suitable approach. But for some expertise person or from the system that you want high level of accuracy, then you need to achieve more than 95 at least. If accuracy is not up to the mark, we can train our data set. So these are the two different steps that you can do. So improve your algorithm on train the data. If accuracy is not up to the mark, we can either improve our algorithm, we can make a certain changes, or we can train our data so that it helps in our final results. So these are the few steps that we have taken up in consideration of our live examples, right? There are a lot of libraries available. If you are new to this machine learning or new to any Python, then that's not an issue. There are a lot of resources available which they can guide you from a scratch to start working on your ML stuff. Finally, I have taken from these various resources. There's machine learning mastery is there, analytics India is there, what is expert system is there, analytics Vidya is there, towards data science. So these are the few links or few references that I have kept, and I have taken up the material form. Last and finally, I would that's all for this machine learning stuff. If you are if you all are having any questions, then please you can put forward so that we can have this interactive session. Or if you are having any such ideas that or if you want any if you are having a defining problem, then you can ask me that how you can go about and how you can achieve your stuff.
Friends, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand. I will unmute from here, and then Dr. Akil will answer those questions.
Hello everyone. Please, this session is open for now question and queries. So if you have any question or query, you can ask to the Akil sir. Please press that raise hand button, which is available at the below of your screen.
Sir, this is Dinesh Panchal. Though I am not a student of machine learning or a related field, but sometime back I read an article where it says the Facebook can predict when the Facebook users are going to die. So does that mean that if we stop using Facebook, or if we stop giving our data to the Facebook or Google for that matter, is that advisable?
Sir, there is a very thin line that how much you need to share to an outer world and how much things that you need to keep confidential at your end. So it's a very thin line. So I will just request to everyone that when they are using these open social networking sites, they just have to give a very relevant data that is just required. and should not put any unnecessary kind of data onto the net, because whatever you put as a data would be used in any kind of formation for predictions, right? So if you are putting any your purchasing skills, something like that, if you are, let's say, putting your tourism schedules on Facebook, if you are putting your roaming schedules or restaurant schedules on a Facebook, there are high chances that this particular data might be used by this particular company, right? And for prediction, they will go for positivity but not negativity, right? But like that, you also know that there are chances that might hacker or some other can peep up into your profile by various ways, and then there are chances that they can misuse, and that's all we also see in the newspaper as well, right? About prediction, that you have said that that you will die in this particular age or something like that. Yeah, they might be using some kind of an algorithms in that terms, that they have this past historical data with them. They might have this average age with them. They might take they might take the activities based on the same kind of people, right? That what same activities these people do, and then lastly they might end up with the suggestion that okay, fine, your age is something like this. It just keeps you entertained, I guess.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to read out one question by a participant.
Yeah.
Mr. Dhruvil said the accuracy should be 80%, but will the lower accuracy of 75% will work?
See, sir, it depends on which application side your like domain is. Let's say, for an example, if you are building your application for academic purpose, then I hope your faculty members can go for 75% of accuracy. But let's say, for an example, if you are building a system for army, or let's say for aerospace, or let's say for healthcare, or let's say for your medicinal purpose, or let's say for drugs, then I doubt that 75% is not sufficient. You need to achieve higher accuracy. It depends on which area you are targeting and how sensitive your output would be to a society. I hope I am clear, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yogesh, sir, you can ask the question.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. We have with us Professor Yogesh Chaudhary. He is a HOD of BTech IT and CSC program. So, sir, please, can you please ask your question?
Very good morning, Akil, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, the talk was very nice and informative. And from talk, I can understand that most of the work of machine learning is dependent on the data set. Now, during this time, maybe many researchers who are collecting the data from the real world might be facing the crunch of data because of getting locked down and staying at one place, and they are not able to move. So I would like to request you to put some light on the ways of obtaining the data sets online.
Yes, sir. There is one website which is Kaggle, Kaggle, which provides data for the experiment purpose. Now, let's say, for an example, if you want certain COVID-19 data, right, state-wise, then our government has one website. I just forgot the name, but there is a website. From that you can take a data for your study purpose. It keeps on getting updated every 5 p.m. So after 24 hours, it gets updated, right? So let's say if I want to study something on COVID-19, I can go to that particular website and take a data. Again, for this, in terms of this microarrays data set, or in terms of bioinformatics data set, there is a GEO Omnibus is there. Atlas is there. So these are the open source database from where you can take a data for the experimental purpose. Now, what the research community does is, after the experimentation is done, most of the people share the data online, so that the people like us, those who are going to experiment in near future, can get a help from it. So if you, so there are various online sources from that you can get a data. But yes, just you need to just keep in mind there might be a demographic difference, right? A data might not be of India or it might be of other countries. But yeah, you just have to take into consideration that.
Sir, we have a question from Zil Patel. How does a deep learning different from machine learning?
Uh, so basically, the deep learning goes for deep learning has this artificial or neural network at its end, right? So the basis of deep learning is using a neural networks and identifying which inputs are sufficient enough, and from there they predicts the various output. So as far as deep learning is concerned, the core part behind a deep learning would be your this artificial neural network, right? So based on that the prediction takes place. So that is what at this moment I can say so about a deep learning.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
There's a question from Devesh Gajjar. I'll just unmute him. Devesh. Devansh, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yes. Hello, sir. My name is Devansh, and I'm from third year, Bachelor's of Computer Applications.
Yes.
So, as
Okay.
we see, you are from an organization which is into data algorithms or
Right.
machine learning, right?
Right.
So, then I suppose that you might be getting or buying data from organizations which has particular user set, right?
Bank data.
Yeah, bank data. Okay. So, what if, if I get to know that my data is into your organization for any kind of purposes, positive or negative, okay? But I do not. What if I do not want my data to be into your organization? So, is there any legal amendment that I can get my data scraped from your organization?
No, I mean, first thing is that not any organization take a bank data. First thing, let me be clear, right? So bank is not providing their data to anyone. That is the first thing that you need to keep in mind, right? Now, let's say you need to identify that your data has been leaked from, or let's say has been gone through only a bank, or you have submitted your data someone else as well. Because as a person we try to give or fill up a lot of registration forms and share our data with a lot of people, right? So you need to take care of this, that minimize your data sharing with unauthorized person, or minimize your data sharing stuff. One thing I can be very clear that each and every organization has their norms of using your data, right? So there you can read the terms and conditions or privacy policy attached with each and every organization. In that they would clearly mention that for which purpose they are going to use your data. Let's say for an example, if in that privacy policy, if they have written that we are going to give your data to a third party, then and if you agree on these terms and condition, you sign it on, then they are bound to use it. But let's say if they are saying that no, we are just going to use it for our organization purpose, then I am very much sure they are not going to leak it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Akash, sir, please ask your question.
Faculty at BCA department. Sir, I would like to ask that what could be the starting point for the BCA students to learn this course or this subject?
So basically, as I have said, you start with Python programming first. Get into basics of Python programming. And then just as I have stated, take a simple example or simple definition that you want to go for, right? Now, beside that, there is a simple example of classification of these iris flowers, right? So there are 3 types of iris flowers, as you might be aware of. That particular example is very general in online stuff. you also get the data set. You also get a data set readily available. So I would suggest that just start with Python programming first, get a hand on its basic syntax and stuff, and then just move on step by step with installing Python, installing libraries. Take one definition on hand, and then you can start using the libraries. Because if you go other way around, that you just learn libraries first and then you go for a project, it will be very tough, because there is a huge number of libraries available with Python. So better define something and then start your programming.
Okay. Any new questions? Any more questions from this audience?
No, sir. Now there's no pending question in the chat box.
Okay. So I would like to invite Hemal Shah. She is a faculty at BCA program. So I would like to call her for hello. I would like to call her for word of thanks. Hemal Shah, please join.
Go ahead, Hemal, ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, madam, go ahead.
On behalf of Navrachana University and BCA program, I am Hemal Shah. I would like to extend the vote of thanks to Dr. Akil Surti for sharing the useful insights on machine learning today. You have covered the topic from introduction to applications, utilities in various fields, trending today. Also, you gave us information on ML project guideline, which was with very relatable example. We also had the really interactive Q&A session with participants. I'm sure it has become useful for non-computer participants too. Thank you once again, Akil sir, for sharing your knowledge and giving us your time today. I also thank Dhaval Mehta sir, head BCA, for arranging this session, and Dinesh Panchal sir, CPE head, for facilitating. And lastly, I would like to thank participants for joining with great enthusiasm. Thank you all.